China is defending its dynamic zero COVID-19 policy amid rising concerns of more outbreaks across the country. Top health officials are insisting that it's in line with pursuing economic progress. Capital city Beijing is shutting more businesses while frustration grows in Shanghai over a month-long lockdown. A single case has prompted mass testing in both Hangzhou and Guangzhou city. China identified nearly 15,700 new cases, and that's more than 36% of an increase from the day before. The vast majority of new cases were found in Shanghai, the financial hub also reporting 52 deaths. But now there's some respite for residents who've been locked down since the start of this month. More than 12 million of them are now in lower risk areas, and that means that they can leave their homes. A different story, though, in Beijing, where 49 of the new cases were found. The city is conducting a third round of mass testing, as well as closing schools, as it seeks to prevent a wider outbreak of COVID-19. More residential compounds are being sealed off as authorities ramp up contact tracing. Olivia Xiong joins us live now from Beijing for more on this story. Olivia, China's standing by this so-called dynamic zero COVID-19 policy, despite these mounting economic costs, the public frustration that it's seeing as well. How are authorities rationalizing this decision?
Well, Dawn, the direction is coming right from the top. At a Communist Party meeting that was presided over by Chinese President Xi Jinping, they reiterated that China needs to continue to uphold the dynamic zero COVID policy to protect people's lives, but also to ensure social and economic development. Now, we also heard from a senior Chinese health official at a news conference who said that this approach was akin to purchasing insurance for the citizens in the country as well. Now, he said that while other countries have chosen to live with the virus by achieving herd immunity and with people getting infected naturally, China is looking towards achieving active immunity, and by that he means going down the vaccination route. But he said that there are challenges, and this is reason why China has to hold on to its dynamic zero COVID policy, and that's because China has a huge population. Also, he said that at the moment, there is unequal development in the different regions of China, and there are insufficient medical resources. Also, another problem is that there is another problem is that the vaccination rate among children and the seniors is not high enough, 81% among seniors here in China. And so that poses an issue. And he said that if China were to coexist with the virus, this would, one, put a strain on China's medical resources, but also leave vulnerable groups like children and the seniors at risk. This is even though he acknowledged that China should continue to make improvements to its policy. Have a listen.
那么，新冠肺炎疫情的抗击是一场总体战、阻击战，更是一场人民战争。那我们必须要认识到，疫情、病毒才是拖累经济的罪魁祸首。
Olivia, more residential compounds in Beijing are being affected as well. What's the situation like where you are?
Yes, more places here in Beijing being closed as authorities, try to trace and isolate people who may have come into contact with confirmed cases here in the city. And this morning, I woke up to news that the residential compound that I'm living in here in the Chaoyang district, where the bulk of Beijing's cases has been found, has been placed under what has been called a temporary control zone. Now, what this means is that there has been risk identified within this area. And this morning, I woke up to a text message which said that it had been detected that I have been in an area where there's a higher risk, and therefore I had to report myself to the neighborhood committee, stay put, and await instruction on COVID-19 tests. Now, what does it mean exactly to be in a temporary control zone? Well, in this area, there is a residential compound that has been found to have confirmed cases, and that particular compound has been locked down. Residents living there not allowed to leave, but where I am, so far, no cases have been found. I am allowed to leave my compound. However, my movements are somewhat restricted. That's because many people living here, we have to use a health kit. And for us in this zone, the health kit has had a pop-up alert saying that we have been to a high-risk area. And because we are able to scan our health kit when we visit malls or offices or any sort of public places, we aren't able to enter these places. And so we can't really move about freely as we would. Also, another thing is shops, malls in this area have been closed. Only those providing essential services like groceries have been allowed to operate. Also, we have to undergo 3 rounds of mass testing in the next few days. But so far, I have been able to still order groceries online and still also place food delivery. But the question, though, there's been a lot of chatter, slight nervousness is when talking to neighbors, and we can see in the WeChat group chats that there are a lot of questions about what is to happen next. Because if a case is found, there is a possibility that this residential compound could also be put under lockdown, all part of China's zero COVID policy.
So uncertain days ahead for Beijing. Olivia, thank you for that. Olivia Xiong in Beijing.